Welcome back to my channel. I'm Kayla, and I have some updates for you, but these are not only book updates, they're just everything updates, and my reading wrap up will be part of this, but I'm kind of pulling a few things together here because I want to have a broader conversation, and so hopefully you're into that. Yeah, let's talk. Thanks for being here. Thanks for still sticking around with everything that's been going on with me. If you hear my cat, she is Ollie. She's trying to call her men folk over because she's in heat. Ollie. I'm just gonna put a little something on, and then I think we can have an honest little chat together. All right. I just feel like I tend to feel the tiniest bit naked without something on my lips lately. It's changed a little bit because the lip mask that I use keeps my lips really moisturized, and so it's better now, but like there was a time where unless I had something on my lips, I was going nowhere. I keep listening to my cat. She's just like up to no good. So we're gonna try something different. I want to give you my reading updates for the month of March. But while I do that, because I've been so busy with everything transitioning into this new contract role and just like auditing my life and seeing what I want in it and what I don't want in it, seeing how I'm enjoying my routines, what part of my routines I want to change. Like my fitness routine is going to go into a new cycle now that I'm not training for a powerlifting meet anymore, and so like that's something that's new and different. I've finally given myself enough food for long enough that I can go into a little baby cut without freaking out my body. I don't know if I've talked about this. I have a video that I haven't released yet, and so I've kind of been talking around this and not directly at it, but there's been a lot going on in my body over the last several years that I've been wanting to address and like do something about, but unfortunately it's been taking quite a long time because my body has been so frazzled because of just like stress and things, that I wasn't in a position to make a radical change. Ollie, I wasn't in a position to make a radical change and like do this like weight loss thing super effectively because I wasn't eating enough to have something to take away from. And I went through this whole entire process with my trainer. I haven't seen him in a bit. Anyways, I'm at this point where but I still consider him my trainer. I'm planning to go back to him in the next couple of weeks. But I've been like, I started the conversation with him because he's really holistic in his mindset, and he thinks through things like chronic pain and all of that. And so we had a conversation, or several conversations, around how we were training and what I was eating and all of this stuff. Anyway, this is like gonna be the most random update ever, but I just wanted to say that there have been a lot of changes that have been going on in my life, and because of that, it's just been really, really intense trying to keep up with YouTube and like still take care of my body. All that being said, I am still super dedicated to making YouTube and the like little community that I do have so far here a priority for me. I still want it to grow. I still want to build community. YouTube is my community. This is the space I feel most at home in the social media sphere. I don't really post anywhere else, not even on my personal platforms. That's something that I might change soon. But okay, so yeah, I just want to have more varied conversations because I, as I've said in the last few videos, am a person who is multifaceted. And so before I get into too much other stuff, I do want to give you guys my reading update for the month of March. But we're gonna retie my hair while I do it because I'm nearly finished and it's the day before Easter, and if I don't get my hair finished, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know if I'm going anywhere. Like, I don't even know if we're doing anything because my mom's not in town, but I just want to be prepared in the event that we do something, and that's kind of where I'm at. I wish I could find, oh, it's literally right here. Like, where's my hair clip? I can't find my hair clip. So this month was a little unhinged for me. It was a little unhinged. I read 3 books. Don't you do it, Boomer. Don't you do it. Be quiet. Leave the outsiders alone. I read 4 books. I feel like I read more books than that, and that I just can't find the other one, and that's just really chaotic of me. It's just that I haven't been using a tracker, really. I've just been kind of like reading, and which is so funny like to say. And so it's been a little bit harder to keep track of what I've been reading. I'm using this. This is just something, ignore how messy it is, but this is just something that I've used no matter if my hair was like loose or braided or whatever. I just always used it, and I continue to use it. This is just a hair oil. I don't always use hair oil, or I don't use it a lot on my scalp because my scalp gets pretty irritated with too much stuff on it, and I do wash my hair 1 to 2 times a week, every single week. I'm somebody who just needs to wash my hair more often. My scalp has been that way my whole life. Even when I had loose hair, when I had straight hair, when I had curly hair, I've just always done that. But my husband has had his hair locked for like probably going on 15 years now. His hair's super long. He's cut it, but he really liked this oil. He's used it in the past, and I'm just trying it out. Typically though, I just use like a tea tree oil in my hair and call it a day. And I always use the BioSilk. And just like I spray my hair with water every day. Sometimes with water that has conditioner in it. And then I'm just using this. This is just to make the little sections that I'm working in look a little bit more neat. I don't always do it with something like this, but that's what I'm doing this time. Okay, that aside, it was kind of an unhinged reading month for me. I don't really know why. I think that the main thing around it is, what do I want to say about it? The main thing about the reading is that it's taken place on audio, mostly. I would say primarily it's taken place on audio, and that's just because I have been driving. Like, I drive about 40 minutes to work every day. This is going to be really distracting, but guys, that's what we gotta do. That's what we're doing. I drive about 40 minutes to work every day, and to and fro. I think it's like 40 minutes there. It's probably like over an hour getting back. I'm gonna use just that little bit for like all, 8 or 10 locs that are just sitting there. I'll show you when I get to the front, like what it actually looks like, but I'm just unwilling to, I'm unwilling to move this right now. And it's like the same amount for the oil. Just get it on like close to the scalp and not like on my scalp, because again, my scalp doesn't like that. And then I just take the pieces. And oh, also, I guess I should say, I don't have sister locks. I have microlocs. I locked my hair by myself. Is it 2 or 3 years ago now? And then I had a lot of blonde in my hair that was left over from when I dyed my hair, because I used to get my hair done and it just used to be blonde. And so Ollie, so because I had so much blonde in my hair, I just let it stay for like the first couple of years, and I just recently cut it off because it was kind of dead and stuff. I cut it off, and I had like such a cute bob. It was like maybe like four or 5 months ago. I cut it up to like here, and it was the cutest bob, but my hair's already grown out of it, and I'm just not willing to cut another bob. So I'm just going to let it grow, and we'll see what it does. I think it's realistic for me to get to like here in the next, like by the end of summer. That's what I think. Because my hair just grows really fast. Ollie! Okay, there is a backstory there, but I don't feel like getting into it right now. I can't focus on 15 things at once. So, what's going on? Today is Saturday. It's the first Saturday since I started my new contract that I've had any energy, and so I don't know if I've said that already, but I'm saying it again. What are we doing? This is for me, we are retying my hair, but we're also talking about the books that I've read. The first book that I finished in March, sorry that it's taken so long to get here, was The One. And I should say that I had read at the end of February, no, it wasn't the end of February, I can't remember when, but I had read the first book in the selection series, or maybe it was books 1 and 2, because there's the selection and then there's the elite, I think. And I feel like the elite I don't think I read the elite in March. I think I read the one in March. So I read the one, the heir, and the crown in March. In like 3 days, 4 days. I don't know. And then I stopped reading that, and I started reading Everything You Want Is on the Other Side of Hard. And I read a little bit of that, but it was just like a little too, like, I'm enjoying it. I started reading it because of a podcast. Ollie, come here. I started reading that book because of a podcast I was listening to about health and wellness, and hello Gizmo. And it's a podcast that I've loved for years. And they were talking about overcoming hardships, and this guy had gone through a really tough, what do you call it? Like drug use situation. He was addicted to a lot of things, and he had also just like a really hard life and became successful very, very quickly, and it was like one of those stories where I'm not going to call it like winning the lottery, because he worked really hard to get to where he was. It wasn't like that, but in terms of how overnight the success was, it was like overnight. And sharing with you the part of the story that I heard from the podcast, although I've gotten through some of the book, just not a lot of it. He became like a really successful guy in finance, and he was first, I believe, in New York, and then ended up in London, and was just really, really wildly successful, having a good time. Anyway, he did really well. He did really well, but he had so much money at his disposal, and he was a functional heavy drug user. And just eventually everything just sort of came to a head, and I'm still listening to the story, and so I don't know fully what's going on I don't know fully what happened. I just know like the abridged version that he gave on the podcast. And yeah, it's really good. It's a good story. It's just gritty in a way that I don't find motivating. Like, I find it's motivating, obviously, but it's not my kind of motivating. I don't know how else to really put that. Except, have you ever heard of, have you ever heard any of the motivational videos that like typically guys listen to when they're trying to get themselves to get out of bed or to stop procrastinating or, like get themselves to the gym and things like that? I'm looking for my charger. I just realized my phone's about to die. So that's kind of the grit he has, and those videos don't motivate me. They make me want to lay down. I just find them, I don't know if it's like overstimulating or what, but I'm just like, not for me. Like, and so that being said, I'm going to finish the book because I do think that the book is just good. I believe he is objectively a good storyteller, and so I'm still going to read it. It's just not the time in this very moment. And so I read the last three selection books, and then I went into that and I read some of it, and it was a pretty good time. Let me go get this bread put into the oven, and then I'll tell you what I read, last, or what I finished last. Okay, that's got 17 minutes to go. I think we can finish in time. So, yes. So then the end of March, also in just like, maybe like 4 or 5 days, I think it's pretty good for me. I read and finished Intermezzo. Actually, where's the dust jacket? It's right here. I can put that back on now because I'm done. I read Intermezzo. I had such a good time reading it. Honestly, it did take me a couple of tries to get into it, and then one of my coworkers was like, yeah, this was like an amazing book. Like, I just love this book so much. And I was like, really? And she is, like, all the people who are on my small team are avid readers. They just all read different things, and she is somebody who seems to have a pretty broad taste, and so I was like, if she liked it, I feel like I'm gonna like it. I love literary fiction. It's probably my first favorite, probably because to me, reading literary fiction feels closest to reading poetry, which is the thing I adore the most in the literary space. And so I love other things, obviously. I talk about fantasy all the time on here. I feel like I mostly talk about fantasy and like romance and like fantasy romance, but yeah, this is definitely near and dear to my heart. I started off not really knowing how I felt about, I'm gonna put this down so I can do my hair. I started off not really knowing how I felt about Peter, and having questions definitely about what's the name of the woman who Ivan was dating. I think it was Margaret. I got Margaret confused with Sylvia, but Sylvia and Naomi, they are different people. I had like a distaste for Margaret for a while, and something about the way that she dealt with Ivan felt almost predatory in a way, which I think is sort of strange to say, and I feel like makes me think I need to kind of audit the way I think about things a little bit, because I didn't have a huge problem with Peter and Naomi, and they were the same age distance apart, just about,
And I think that it's not because Peter's behaviors couldn't also be perceived as predatory. I think it's that I'm desensitized to men kind of participating in those kind of behaviors, and I'm not as desensitized to when you see that age gap with women and women who are acting out of their desire rather than acting out of how their actions impact others specifically. Like, obviously there was some of that in there, but it is different seeing a woman be kind of like out for herself and really like a not crazy unproblematic, like it in a not problematic way, being just somebody who is interested in her own pleasure and in her own, like, living autonomously of like societal expectations and all that stuff. Like, and I feel like me having a bit of a visceral reaction to when it was Margaret and Ivan is interesting because, yeah, like Peter and Naomi did the same thing. But yeah, but then there, on the other side, there was such a purity and a sweetness to both of these relationships. Peter is dealing with a lot of hard things, and he is having, just without ruining anything, like he's going through something, trying to express himself. He's been trying to express himself. It feels like his whole life, at least going from a young adult into his like 30s. I believe he's 34 in most of the book, and I feel really connected to him. Maybe this is another thing. It's like I understood him better than I understood Margaret. And I felt like, and I loved Intermezzo, so I'm just gonna keep saying that, but I felt like Margaret developed a bit too slowly for me. So it's like Peter, I understood him better more quickly, and Margaret, I didn't feel like I had the language to understand her in the same way. And maybe it's just because I've never seen a character like her before, but she just didn't feel as relatable to me as Peter did. And I don't know why. But in the end, seeing her through Peter's eyes, like as he got to know her and experience her for who she was outside of just looking at her through Ivan's eyes and through like society's eyes, him seeing her for who she is made me really love her. I don't know what that says about me, like that I need him to love her for me to love her. I feel like it probably says nothing, and it's probably just something that happened within this book, because I do feel like I'm generally somebody who can make my own opinions without having somebody push me into those opinions. And so I don't feel coerced into loving her. I just feel like I needed to see her from a different vantage point. Kind of like how I talk about when I read romance, and if it's a grumpy sunshine situation, I'm or like if there's a trope that's sort of active, or if there's just a character who doesn't really seem likable because I haven't seen the interplay between this character and the other character, it takes me seeing them through the other person's eyes to appreciate them more. And I feel like that's okay. That's what I read this month. It wasn't very much, or it didn't feel like very much, because again, most of it took place over audiobook, and I do really like to, when I can, mix it up so that I can give reading a bit more of my attention. I will say that when I was reading the selection series, I did not take notes because I only own the first book. And I had read that, a while back. And so I did not take notes or anything like that. I just kind of listened and engaged with it in my mind. But I do think I'm moving more slowly than I typically do when I read audiobooks. Like, I do think I'm allowing myself time to like soak it up, I feel like that's happening. And so I'm glad that I'm able to do that, and that participating to the degree that I can in this anti-brain rot reading challenge has just made me more cognizant of how I read and like what the intention is behind my reading. And so I'm always like
what am I getting from this? Like, I'm always kind of asking myself that question now, and I'm really grateful that the challenge, even though I'm not fully participating, just having it at the back of my mind and knowing that I do want to, when I have a little bit of time, review these books, it's making me be more particular about how I'm reading. The other book that I'm reading but I haven't finished yet, and there are a couple of those, Sojourner Truth, just haven't had the time, and this one is one that I'm not willing to rush on, and so as long as the library will let me keep it, I'm gonna keep reading it. And when I sit down, I read a lot, but I just don't have the time to sit down as often as I want to, and so that kind of sucks. The other book is, and I put this one in a post, but my husband just finished, I had bought this book for myself a few months ago, and he was intrigued and started reading it, and so he just finished it, and so now I'm reading it, and I'm not very far into it, so I have nothing to say about it, but I'm excited to read it because I'm somebody who probably needs to read this. I think everybody should read it from what I've heard, but I know that I have a tendency to not breathe well, and I don't know, I think it would be a good read for me. A couple other things that I've started and not finished. But this is my work laptop. I don't even know why this is in my vicinity at this moment. But these books. So a coworker recommended this to me. It's a Stephen King book, and it's 11/22/63. It's about JFK, and it's really readable. Like, it's very, I mean, I don't know why I didn't think it would be, or I guess I didn't think it would be unreadable. I just didn't expect it to have such a flow, but it kind of reminds me of, and I don't know if this is sacrilegious to the horror thriller community or whatever, but from the couple of pages that I've read so far, it kind of feels like the beginnings of like a Riley Sager. Like, that's the vibe I'm getting from this specific book. In writing style, like tonality, that's what I mean. I'm not talking about content, I'm not talking about really anything else. The other book that I had started was Priory. I haven't gotten very far in it. Again, it's just a matter of I haven't sat down to read these, and I'm really trying to make sure that I read something physically, and so because of that, these are not being read because I'm not picking them up on audio, and so that's really what it's coming down to right now. I'm also still in my nutrition program, and so I plug away a bit a day at that. Maybe it's like every couple of days I get a little bit done. I'm still really excited about that. It's just, again, my schedule is so radically different than I am used to, and so it's like I would work the same amount in a day in other roles that I've had, but because I haven't like left my house in 5 years, it's taking a lot out of me to go to and fro, like more than I thought. And like what it used to be was that I would have, you know, a meeting a week, or a meeting every other week, and I would go in office for those for like a day, you know. But going in office every single day, by the time I get home, I just have nothing left in me. And I think it's just partly a personality thing, you know? I think it's just what it is. And I think the other part of it is that it's only been 5 weeks and I'm just still adjusting. And so today I had a little bit more energy, and so I sat down to make this video. I imagine that as I continue to adapt, I will continue to have more energy, you know? And I'm very excited for that. But the job itself is going well. Like, I'm having a good time. I'm doing work that I am used to doing, and I'm just genuinely having a good time. And so I think it'll be a good contract. I'm compiling some things to leave with them when the person who I'm sitting in for comes back from their leave. And just like when I like to to the degree that I can, give feedback and tools so that when somebody else comes in to the role, when they inevitably need to, when they need help, you know, when somebody else comes in to you step in for somebody, they have even just a bit more to go on. And I'm sure that that next person, via their questions or their suggestions, will leave something along with them as well. But I just try to do the best that I can to lend a hand so that any hiccups that I experienced, the team can learn from, and it can set them up for like success in the future. And I think that that's just how it goes when you kind of have the job that I have. You're just perpetually new. And so you're always figuring out how you can best be of service. And so that's where I'm at now. And we'll see what comes next, but I've got months left. So for now, I'm just trying to be in the present moment and not be so sporadic and fixated on other things, because that's healthy. The timer is about to go off, so let's go get the bread out of the Dutch oven and put it back on the rack for its second bake. And then I'll talk to you about what I would like to read. And I almost said March, but it's April. So we'll talk about what I like to read in April, and we'll keep it simple. Also, say hello to this sweet, sweet kitty. Come here, Oliver. Her name is Olive, but I call her Oliver. Hello. 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 She's very sweet. I did not plan on having a cat, and so there's that, but she's very sweet at the very least. She's not always very sweet. She's nice to me, but I bottle fed her. That's probably why. That's it. I just wanted to say hello. You want to get down? There you go. All right. I feel like I'm getting nowhere with my hair. What else did I want to say? I did download Priory to my Kindle, or I downloaded the preview. I'm going to download the whole thing later. And I did that because I think that being able to carry such a chunky book around back and forth to work will help me read it. And I really want to make that one of the books that I read this month. Oh, let's get into that. I completely forgot what I wanted to talk about until just now. I want to talk about what I want to read this month. And the books that I want to prioritize are, I have to be specific about this because I keep biting off more than I can chew, which is to be expected when you are an avid reader who, at all, but also like extra expected when you're an avid reader who finds themselves suddenly just where time looks different, or you're tired or whatever. And so what do I want to prioritize? I've been a bit of a mood reader lately, and so I keep choosing books and then immediately putting them down. And it's not the books. Shit.
It's the NBA on Prime.
Stop. Stop it. How do I get you to calm down? It just doesn't want to turn off, and I feel like that's not nice. Okay. All right. What was I even saying? Yeah, I've just been a mood reader lately, and that's been kind of hard. And so I feel like what I should do is give myself a taste test and see how that goes. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll do try a chapter, like a real one, and try these books and then see what sticks. Like, I'll read for a little bit from each book and then just continue with what's most engaging and what's most interesting. But here are the books that I know I want to focus on for sure this month. And I'm going to change this around a little bit because I think it's time to refresh that. But definitely 11, 22, 63, and Priory of the Orange Tree. I'm going to give these a try. I do think I'm going to try and prioritize Priory because I've been wanting to get back into a fantasy place for a while. I feel like I keep talking about this, but I'm going to go ahead and prioritize Priory, but I'm going to prioritize all of them in their own way. I do also want to talk about, or want to read, I'm going to take this down because I think I'm almost done. I feel like I'm like nearly there. I just have like, see, like I did like the front pieces already. I don't know if I showed you guys, but I use this crochet hook. What is that? I feel like, do you see that? Something in my hair, I feel like looks like kind of ashy. What is that in my hair? I don't see anything here when I look at it. It might just be that my hair has a little, what is it? What? I can see it in the camera, but like when I look at my actual hair, I can't see it, which I think is insane. But this is how my hair looks when it's retied. I don't know if I said I don't have sister locks. I just have microlocs that I put in myself. And I maintain them myself because I'm tender-headed. And I don't like people in my hair. I've been doing my own hair since I was probably like 14, 13, something like that, with the exception of when I used to go to the colorist. I didn't do my own hair then. But I just feel like retying is so nice because it elongates my hair. Like I don't get as much shrinkage because there's not as much curly hair in the roots, and it just makes me feel super brand new, and I love it. And I did mine the same weekend that my husband went and got his retwisted. He does see a professional because he's not tender-headed, and I just feel, it makes me just feel so fresh. And I do like a worn-in look just a little bit, and so like when my little, I guess like baby hairs start to like release themselves from this a little bit, I'll like it just a little bit more because I just like that look, like a softer look better on me personally. That's just me. But yeah, so that's my hair. We were successful. I probably should put this at the end, but what else? So I also want to read, I don't know if I'm gonna get to this. I just would like to try and read these from Blood and Ash and One Dark Window. I don't really know which one I want to prioritize. I kind of feel like it'll be this one because I've been trying to read this book for a really long time. I've had it for a really long time. And so maybe I'll do this, but we'll see. I'm gonna, like I said, just read everything and see how I feel. I would like to, because I didn't get a chance to read it in March, I'd like to read Stillborn. I'm still thinking about After the Winter, and I would like to read Stillborn. Oh, I completely forgot that I also reread Book Lovers. I also reread Book Lovers, and so I just needed a comfort read, and I haven't reread anything in a really long time, and I don't know how many times I've actually finished the things that I've reread, like probably not very often. And rereading Book Lovers was just divine. Like it was such a good experience, and it was the thing that closed off my reading for March, because I finished it on like the 30th, maybe the 29th, something like that. So I forgot to say that, and so I'm saying it now. Anyway, Stillborn. And then I'd also, in terms of just like brain development stuff, this and my nutrition book I'm going to continue reading, or my nutrition course I'm going to continue taking. I'm going to obviously keep reading from Sojourner Truth, and for poetry, I'm going to be reading from this. And so that's kind of the vibe. I'm gonna pick all of these up. So I'm going to pick a fantasy. So one of these three guys to focus on. And I'm gonna try and read this one. I'm gonna try. I definitely want to read Stillborn. I definitely want to make a dent in Breath, and I would like to read from Ariel. And so I'm trying not to make like completionist goals anymore, because I'm realizing that just wasn't working for me. It would make me feel really bad about myself. But these are all of the books that I would like to touch in April. And just because I don't know how summative I was, these are the books that I read in March. And I felt like this video was kind of all over the place, and so thank you for bearing with me and for being just a kind consumer of my sporadic content. And I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. This is really heavy. I'm trying to get back into the swing of things, and so I'm hoping that this will become more regular as I continue to adapt to my new life. And so thank you for your patience. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to me yap and yap and yap. And I will see you in the next one. Also, like and comment and subscribe. If you watch my video and you are, just here to help me out, we're here for helping people. Just like my video, just like it. It's okay. And if you are at all interested in this content, in this literary themed content, then subscribe and come check out some more. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one.